Hello everyone, good evening. Today is another episode of the Author Collaborative that I have been doing over the past year and a half, and today is I think the 42nd episode of the Author Collaborative, and I'm really excited to talk to today's guest because it is someone whose book I have read and enjoyed, and she also happens to be somebody who, like me, is very good at writing short stories and short fiction, and she is also somebody who is into multiple professions. She is a health coach, she's a mental coach, and she's also a fiction and non-fiction writer. She's a blogger herself. Hello, hi Sana. So I'm just waiting for my guest to join me, and then I'll add her to the live, and we'll be discussing many things about how to go about writing fiction as well as non-fiction, and how to make that switch between fiction and non-fiction. Because being a blogger and then an author and also somebody who writes non-fiction more than fiction, it becomes difficult to make the switch. And I want to understand how this particular guest goes about doing it, because I myself personally find it very difficult for in a particular day when writing a blog, and then if I have to go back to writing a short story or something around fiction, becomes very difficult for me to make that flip. And I want to understand her process, and maybe probably that will make it easier for me to make the switch. Hello, Payal. Thank you for joining me. I'm just waiting for my guest, and let me see if she has joined us. No, she is yet to be here. In the meanwhile, while we wait for her, if you have any questions for me, feel free to ask. I'll be happy to answer them in the comments. I will just add her here and wait for her to join. Okay, she is here. Let me add her to the live. Smita, if you can accept the invite for joining me in the live. Hello, Paneer Shanil. Thank you for joining. Hey,
Hey, how are you, Manali?
I'm fine. How are you?
I am great. Thank you so much.
Yes, now your the volume level has gone up. Yeah, it's much better now.
Oh, okay. Was there some lag or something? Because I could see you saying that, okay, you were waiting for me to join while I was already there. So I think, I don't know, some technology
Seriously?
lag or something.
Oh,
Yeah.
but now
So,
is it okay?
yeah, now it's perfectly
Yeah.
fine. It's
Okay.
how we are synced up. Yeah.
Okay, great. So, as I was mentioning earlier, you also happen to be someone who is into so many, wearing so many professional hats, and I really admire such people who are able to pull off so many things at one go. And probably that's why I enjoyed reading your book more. I don't know. It was really good. Of course, I the stories were really good, but I think on a another level there was some connectivity more to it, because I was already awed by your profile. I don't want to be biased, but yeah, I think somewhere in the back of my mind, I was already inspired by you. So, firstly, tell us about yourself before we start the session.
Okay. First of all, Manali, thank you. I'm flattered when a fellow writer says that, she is inspired by me and admires me. So that really means a lot. thank you. So, Manali, I am essentially a corporate professional. I have more than 14 years of experience in strategy and management consulting. I've been doing that ever since 2007 when I passed out of IIM Indore. And earlier this year, sometime in April, I think it was the pandemic year that had me do all the introspection. I realized that, okay, now enough of, this corporate rat race. Let me take a pause. And anyway, life is uncertain. 2020 showed all of us that. And 2021 is continuing like that. So I thought, okay, let me take a pause and see, where my passions take me. And if I can convert them into pursuits, nothing like it. So since April is when, I used to write before also, especially non-fiction. And fiction I used to write in bits and pieces. I never had the time actually to give full-fledged, devote my attention to it and see if I can take it somewhere. So since April, basically, I decided, okay, writing is something I want to do. And I want to get back to writing fiction. And also coaching is another thing. The one common thread throughout my career is like I have led large teams, and I enjoy mentoring people, and I enjoy driving people to achieve certain results. So I thought, okay, let me venture into coaching where I can impact many others and help them become a better versions of themselves, essentially. So that's what I've been doing. I've been trying to pursue two careers in parallel, sitting from my home, one writing, the other life coaching. And the sabbatical from corporate world, initially I thought I'll give it 6 months time. Now I'm enjoying it so much, I've postponed it to, the 6 months has become a year. And now as time is flying, I don't see myself going back because I'm enjoying myself so much, being able to, I am writing whatever I want, whenever I want. I am doing life coaching. I can go anywhere, wherever I want, no 9 to 5 foundation. So yeah, that is about me. I think, somebody who has found a passion. Tell me something about yourself, Manali, also. I mean, I know you, but I don't really know you.
Yeah, so I am a freelance writer and an editor. So I do editing work and I do ghost writing and ghost editing. Besides that, I am also a blogger. I run my own blog where I pen down thoughts and experiences around my life, whatever I have been able to understand about life so far, and my experiences around with life. I share them on my blog. And besides that, I have written 4 books, and I am hoping to write many more books in the future. One of the books you have read, and that was my latest release, Love Triangle, and that was my debut novel. Before that, I have written a collection of short stories and a collection of micro tales and a collection of poems. So that's about it.
No, that's a lot. You also wear many hats, which is what I noted, and which is again, I felt some sort of affinity. And if Love Triangle was your debut novel, which I read somewhere before, you just confirmed it, then I think somewhere something is lost because it was too good to be a debut novel.
That's very kind of you. Thank you so much. So actually, I want to talk about your book first, because I am someone who writes stories who are very everyday incidents, very, very relatable. And one of the main reasons that I liked your book so much is because the stories are so similar to something that I write. They are about people that, we talk to, we meet every day. They can be a story about anyone from around us. And that's probably why I love the story so much. It's called A Slice of Life. And based on my reading, I want to ask a few questions around that, if you are kind enough to answer them.
Oh, please feel free, but don't expect brilliant answers from me.
There is no right or wrong answer here because we are just sharing our experiences. So don't worry.
Sure, please go ahead.
So, as you were mentioning, you have a diverse portfolio. So how do you manage it all? That's the first question I want to know, because, getting tips from somebody who has a first-hand experience of it can only help us, manage our own professional and personal lives better. So tell us, how do you manage it?
Well, again, I said don't expect brilliant answers. So I think you'll find the answer very boring here. But the thing is, when you love something you do, you will automatically find time, right?
That's
So
very
that was portfolio. Okay, so writing, coaching, I have so many clients in coaching. And then there are, those side frills which comes, which is like marketing, both in case of writing and in case of your own business. But ultimately, at the core of it is writing and basically coaching clients to, help them solve their problems. So I realized, something that best works for me in terms of writing is when I'm in a flow. And for me to be in a flow, I need to be undisturbed, concentrated only on that task. Because once my concentration breaks, I find it very difficult to go back. So I simply realized that, okay, that means that I have to wake up early in the morning and spend those 2.5 hours writing when the rest of the world is sleeping. So, so I have, since the past 6-7 months, I've been waking up at 5 a.m. every morning, and 5 to 7 is when I write, right? So those hours basically, anyway, I used to get at 6 in the morning before this, but then that used to go in exercising or something else, or simply, checking my work emails and all.
Yes.
So one thing is, rejigging, you can rejig your schedule. The other thing is you can, obviously, like I never thought I would be able to get up at 5 in the morning. But when I'm getting up and spending that time to do something which I love to do, then it does not feel like an effort.
Yes, it doesn't
Initially,
become
it
a
felt,
task.
yeah, initially it does, but now it's like second nature. I don't even have to put an alarm. I automatically get up when it's 5. So that's how it happens.
Yeah.
So, you need to see which are those activities which are not adding value or which are of low priority. So you can put them on the back burner and instead, spend your time on those activities which are on your priority. And priorities will change over time. It's not that what is my priority now, it was not there last year and it will not be the same this year.
Yes.
But instead of, letting my schedule dictate me, I dictate my schedule. So basically, so that is the thing. And the other thing is I put a stopwatch. So, okay, I get up at 5, but I love writing so much, I can continue writing whole day, right? But again, I have other things to do. So I'm like, okay, 5 to 7, that is writing time, that is sacrosanct. But come what may, whatever stage I am in, I have to get up. I have to stop writing at 7 because there is something else I have to do. So that is the thing, okay? Decide on the priorities for the day. Adjust, rejig your schedule accordingly and put a stopwatch. So, I mean,
yeah,
that's it.
That's really practical and helpful. Thank you for sharing. So, using a stopwatch is something I have not done so far. So, probably that's something I can add to my schedule. Thank you.
My pleasure. Now, can I ask you something,
Yes,
Manali?
yes.
Okay, so I actually really, I mean, I am a hardcore romantic at heart, and that's the reason, okay, that I love Pure Love Triangle so much. Sweet, feel good romance. Now, it's always said, especially for debut novels, right, that an author is always inspired by real life characters when it comes to the debut. So tell me who inspired the characters of Varun, Viren, Abhi, and Aisha.
Okay, so Aisha is an amalgamation of myself and all the inspiring women that I have known and befriended in my life so far. Not just people of my age. She is an inspiration drawn from women who are older than me or even younger than me, and she's just somebody that I wish to become, but somehow I was never like that. At that age, she has a clarity that I wish I had when I was 18 or 16. But having said that, I have seen women girls at that age having so much of confidence, so much of clarity in life about what they want to do. So that's how Aisha came up. And Viren and Abhi are not really inspired by one person. I want to say that Viren is somebody I wanted in my life at that point when I was like Aisha. When I moved to Bombay at the age of 18. And Viren is somebody I wish I had around me at that time. So probably that's what inspired him. I wish I had somebody like him who would, hold my hand and make me feel like I am not an outsider in a city where I was stepping out for the first time. So that's how Viren came about. Abhi, I want to say, is an amalgamation of all those fictional characters, who are trying to make the life of the lead protagonist, lead lady in their life hell. So that's how she came up. But to be very frank, none of them are inspired from people I really know.
Okay, but yeah, amalgamation of people like yourself, so an amalgamation of yourself and other inspiring characters, and you conceived of somebody who you hoped you come across at some point of
Yes.
time. You didn't, so you conceived the character. Beautiful. I mean, all three were very lovable and relatable characters, Manali.
Yes, that brings me to my next question about your book, which is, as we were mentioning earlier, Slice of Life, which is a collection of short stories. Now, I want to know, how long did it take for you to write this book and then go on to publishing it?
Actually, writing didn't take me long because I write something every day, as I told you, right? And most of these stories are really flash fiction. I think the
Hmm.
longest one is Forever Love, which is like almost 20 to 25% of the book.
Yes.
So it's long. So it took me 2.5, I think, yeah, around 2.5 months to, finish the book. Actually,
Hmm.
the stories were ready before that because April is the point where I started writing, and all 1 week I was writing like two, sometimes even three stories, right?
Hmm.
And they were published on I published them on various platforms like Story Mirror, Penmancy, some of the stories won awards. And then I realized, okay, so many short stories are coming up, and there is a common theme, right? So why
Hmm.
not? I thought, I'll debut with a novel. And in fact, my novel was ready before I even wrote the first story of A Slice of Life. But
Oh.
of course, editing a novel and everything takes time. And I'm still editing the NH draft of the novel, which I wrote first. But yeah, I realized the short stories are here. There's a theme. I was getting great feedback on the platforms I posted. So I'm like, okay, why not come up with this, which is ready?
Hmm.
So the stories were there. I put some time to put a structure as to, I want the book to have a certain theme. That is why the three sections came about, love, humor, and
Yes.
relationships, and which
Yes.
stories to put, because I had
Hmm.
many more stories. Not all the stories that I've written was there. I started with writing thrillers, actually, but yeah,
That's
there is no
interesting.
thriller or any other genre in this book. So yeah, putting a structure, which story should go there, more editing, because of course it was a book after all. So it took me around 2.5 overall from writing the stories to give a structure.
Hmm.
It is basically publishing, bringing it out, that took me around 3 more months. So 6 months
Oh, yeah.
overall. So it took as much time to bring it out as much as writing
As
it.
writing it,
I
yes.
think in case of my novel, it will take even more. But anyway, that's a separate story. But yeah, actually, it could have taken even more had I gone for traditional publishing.
Uh,
I It took a month more because I wrote letters to those traditional publishers, those who do accept short story collection, and see if they would be interested. I did get response from a couple of them, and even though they offered me a contract, they were like that I had to wait for quite a long time.
hmm.
I mean, they said commissioning editor, when they will find time they'll get to you.
Hmm.
Minimum it will take 9 months. I mean, that was the timeline they gave. Minimum it will take 9 months for the editor to reach out. So I am like, it seems like it will take 1.5 years if I wait for this to come out. So let me then go ahead and do a self-publishing thing, because I didn't want to wait that long. Had I not
Yeah.
waited, perhaps I could have taken 1 month less. But yeah, so 6 months overall, Manali. Sorry, long answer to your short
No,
question.
no, that's okay. I
Now,
completely understand. And it's very important for the viewers to understand that traditional publishing is going to take a lot of patience. And, if they feel their manuscript is ready, self-publishing is a very, lucrative option, which they should not just shrug off.
That's what made me go to self-publishing. I didn't want to wait that long, especially for a short story collection.
Yes.
When I knew a lot of stories will lose its relevance, because I didn't know 2 years henceforth pandemic will be there or not, and two of my stories are
True,
based on
true.
pandemic,
Yes.
so I wanted to get it out as soon as possible. So again, putting the question back to you, I would like to know. So this was my first experience. The Love Triangle is your fourth book, right?
Yes.
So how much time did it take for you to write it, and how much time to bring it out?
So Love Triangle is my debut novel, but it is my second self-published book. So coming back to your point that you were saying that going with self-publishing or traditional, uh, when the idea for Love Triangle came to my head, uh, this KDP Pen to Publish was just starting off, and I was like, why not give it a try? The idea seemed good enough for me to, worthy enough to be, for an entry for KDP. And Amazon KDP is a wonderful platform for self-publishing. I had heard many good things about it, and I had already published one book in the previous year itself. So I had seen how smooth the process is, and you know, uh, it is very lucrative as long as you are, marketing it well. It will reach the right audience. And so I was like, okay, let's give it a try. And it took me about 3.5 to 4 months to bring the book together after the conceiving of the idea, of course. And as you were mentioning earlier, it takes up a lot of your schedule. You have to prioritize and schedule your day when you are writing every day, and you have a timeline in your head that I want to get this done within this amount of time. So that takes a lot of discipline. So whoever is listening to this, even though we are saying that it took us 2 to 3 months or 4 months to write a particular book and then publish it, it's going to take a lot of time management and discipline from your life. So if you are somebody who doesn't have that kind of a time on your hand every day like we do, it's probably going to take you a year. So it really depends from person to person.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So Love Triangle, yes, it took me 4 months.
Okay, from writing to bringing it out and all. Love
Yes.
Triangle is self-published, right?
Yes, yes. So the ebook is self-published, but I got a great response on it, and overall it was so positively received that I managed to have a traditional publishing deal for the paperback. So all is in
Okay,
yeah.
after you release the
Yes,
ebook, basically.
yes.
Huh, that's great. That is
Yeah.
one of the best things that could happen. So
So that
great.
basically happened with both my the last two books that I wrote. The same thing happened with both of them. They were received so well as ebooks that I was able to, fetch a traditional publishing deal for the paperbacks. And there's nothing better as a writer. It's the best feeling in the world when you get a traditional publishing deal, just because
Yeah,
your
it
ebook did
is.
so well.
Yeah, it is. That's a good thought. Maybe, and you've given me some food for thought. Like here also in case of Slice of Life, the KDP part I managed myself. Even the paperback was sort of self-published, for which I went to Notion Press, but I released both simultaneously. Maybe next time I should also
Yeah.
try, like, releasing
So
ebook
yeah,
on my
that's
own,
a
seeing
really
the
good thought
response.
for you or whoever is listening to us. That's a really good option. Yeah, I mean, uh, probably test it out first by self-publishing it, based on the reviews and based on what people are saying, how it is received. You can probably reach out to the publishers that you had in mind previously, and you can also put out the thought that it has been well received by the people who have read it so far. They can look at the reviews themselves, and if they find it good enough, they will probably accept it.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, a learning for me. So thanks for that.
No problem. So, as I was mentioning in the earlier part of our session, before I started asking you these questions, one of the most important and personally most difficult things for me as a writer is making the switch between fiction and non-fiction. Like, for me, how it goes is during the major part of the day, I am doing non-fiction writing with my blog writing, or anything else that I'm doing, which fetches me money. Or if I'm writing for somebody else, it's majorly non-fiction. And when I'm doing my own writing, I have to make that switch between that and going back to fiction, which becomes a little difficult. So how do you make that switch? Is there some trick to how you do it?
See, I have been actually, as I said, if non-fiction is something I've been writing for long. It came with the profession that I was as management consultants. You know, you have to type a lot of reports and everything. So, one difference is, you know, not. I find non-fiction easier, even though I enjoy fiction more. But I find non-fiction easier. Why? Because you know, it's a point of view, right? And there
Yes.
is a lot of information available, so it's not something original that you have to think.
Mhm.
You have to collect a lot of information, give it your own spin, put across your point of view. But once you have your research in place, and thanks to Google and all these wonderful tools, it actually does not take that much time.
Yes, true.
Because you know, if you do it pretty often, you over a period of time, you'll find your research is getting shorter. You're going to, you know, find the point quicker and all. So, and yeah, so the research part, once you are, if you have the research part in place, putting your own spin to it and making sure that you know you are conveying the point in a lucid manner, it does not take much time. So what I found is, you know, non-fiction is something that does not take much of my concentration. Like even if you know something is disturbing me and you know I go into that break state, it does I even if there is a break, I can come back to it and pick it up from where I left. Because all said and done, and I hope I'm not offending anyone, I really like non-fiction, but I think the creativity element is lesser in non-fiction because it's a
True.
point of view, right?
Yes.
I mean, obviously you are writing prose at the end of it, which is, you know, not original. One or two points you might be putting it as original, but it's basically putting your point of view on a situation
True.
or on a state of affairs, whatever it is. So no, what I do is, you know, I make sure that, you know, 5 to 7 times in the morning that I spoke about, for fiction, I want to be undisturbed. So
Yeah.
that is basically, I have different timings. Anything fiction, it has to be in that bucket where, you know, I am alone. So most of the time it's 5 to 7. If one of those rare occasions, you know, nobody is at home, I am alone at home, which is very, very rare occasion because obviously my daughter is there and pandemic, work from home. So my husband
Yeah.
is also
It's
mostly at
yeah,
home
it's
only.
difficult to get alone time now.
Uh-huh. So the one thing is, okay, I make sure that when I write fiction, I am uninterrupted. I am in that space when nobody can interrupt me. So that way, you know, because I want that creative space, it's imagination. I enjoy it more, but it takes a lot of time. So I make sure that I am uninterrupted when I'm writing fiction. And non-fiction is any part of the day. The other thing is I make sure that non-fiction also takes lesser time because I make sure that, you know, obviously one need not use those literary devices, flowery languages and
Yes.
everything,
Yes.
simple and
Yeah.
conveying to the point. So I don't have to use a lot of thesaurus or dictionaries or any such thing because there is no tension of literary devices. So that's why it takes less time. So my thing is just dividing the day into fiction and non-fiction and making sure I write fiction when I am at the peak, when my concentration levels are at its peak, and I am sure to be undisturbed for most of it.
Okay. Yes, but one interesting thing I noted what you said is non-fiction is less creative, which is so true because in fiction we have to be very careful about what we are putting down, and probably because we are not using our own thought process, it's the character's thought process that we are putting out, and it needs
Yeah.
more concentration, more creativity. Very true. One more question I had within this question was, what do you think is the similarity or the differences between fiction and non-fiction?
So similarity is you have to absolutely love writing. That is a given, whether you are writing fiction or non-fiction. And of course, you have to, you know, something like editing and grammar, it has to be spot on for both, right? I mean,
Yes.
non-fiction is not an excuse. So you have to, you know, and also whoever is the target audience, be it fiction or non-fiction, the TGs, of course, might be different, but you have to write in the language of your TG. So that goes, you know, irrespective of fiction or non-fiction. For example, if you're writing in a scientific journal, or in my case, when I was a management consultant, I used to write a lot of articles in sports journals, right? So obviously, I spoke the language of sports because that is where my audience was. So you have to speak in the language of your audience. The difference, I think, as I mentioned, creativity, right? So you have to be a lot more imaginative, a lot more think, a lot more out of the box in fiction as compared to non-fiction. But fiction also gives you the liberty to write for yourself. Non-fiction, obviously, you're writing because you're conveying a point, and if you're
Yes.
conveying a point, it's always for someone. Fiction, you write. I mean, I have many stories which I have written, which I haven't published anywhere because I wrote it. I feel like writing, I wrote it. Whatever I feel like publishing, I publish. Whichever, I mean, there are a lot more stories in my drafts than the ones which I have published. And I have the liberty, right? Because I wrote it for myself. If I find it good enough, or if I find somebody else might also be interested, then I publish it.
Yes.
So you have the freedom to write for yourself. And it's fiction, right? So you can create any world you want.
Yeah.
I might create another country, another planet, another set of species. I have the license to do anything I want in fiction, not so much in non-fiction, right? So fiction makes me feel more powerful as a writer.
Yes, true. Yes. So, any question you have for me now?
Yeah, Manali. So again, coming back to Love Triangle, I can't seem to get that book out of my mind. But I have one peeve, Manali, as a reader. Okay, I think that you ended the book a little bit too abruptly. You could have explored the story of, Aisha and Varun when Varun went abroad, and how did the long distance relationship work. But yeah, what made you end the book the way it did?
Okay, so I have to be very honest here that when the idea of love triangle came to me, the ending was something that came to me first. After that, the entire book was about making a justifiable story to justify the ends of that means. And having said that, I feel I have justified it, but I have noticed a lot of people coming back and asking me that what really happened here. Uh, but as the author and as the creator of their world, I feel that Aisha's choices were very clear from the beginning of the story. From the epilogue itself, we know that she's somebody who's not going to make compromises on her professional or personal front. And from that point on, I have only gone on to explain probably that whatever is coming forth is going to be justified through the actions and through the stories, therein telling stories. But I don't know how that point has not come across, and I'm really sorry to you and whoever has felt that.
No, you don't have to be. You are the creator. You had the full liberty. And trust me, it's a good position to be in when readers say, they wanted the book to be longer. So you're like, okay, you know what to do for your next book. I mean, I feel very happy when people come and say to me, your book ended too soon. So
yeah, so to whoever is disappointed or felt that it ended too soon, and I didn't divulge into the details of how the end came about, I just want to say that it was also always about Aisha's growth as a character, and I think I have tried my best to justify it by showing her development from the age of 14 years at the beginning of the story in the epilogue, and by the end of the story when she becomes 26 or 27. I think we have seen her develop from a teenager to this very inspiring, confident young woman, and I think that in itself explains why she made those choices.
No, as a writer, you have the full liberty. You are the creator of this world. And anyway, the book was really nice.
But one thing that I have noticed after the book came out is that I probably gave lesser time to Viren's story. I think I should have explored that area more and probably let Aisha and Viren's dynamic I should have explored their dynamic more. That's something I think I realized was missing after the book came out.
In fact, that was going to be my next question, Manali. Now that you have said it, let me ask. So, okay, I know it's a little bit difficult because as writer, we all love our work. But now, let's say Love Triangle was written by someone else, okay,
Hmm.
and you were to read it as a reader. So, what is the one thing you like the most about the book as a reader, and what is the one thing you don't like?
The one thing I like the most about this book is how clear-headed all the three characters are, and how their priorities in life are, so sorted. None of them wants to compromise on their professional front, or on their academics, and that's something which I think everyone can get inspired from. It's not just about their academics. They are very clear about what they want to do after they have, after they are done with their studies. They are very clear about that also. So that's one thing I really admire about the three characters. And one thing that I don't like is that, as I mentioned, the dynamic between Viren and Aisha, I think, should have got more space. And I think many readers have come back and told me that they wanted to see more scenes between Aisha and Viren, whereas I have probably shown more scenes between Aisha and Abhi, and I wish I had explored Aisha and Viren's dynamic more.
Okay. So a tough one, but I think you handled it well. So, okay. Hmm.
Hello, I think we got cut off in the middle. Yes, tell me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I was just saying that anything that you'd want to ask me.
Yes. So, my next question to you is, how do you go about marketing your book? And what are the things that an author must do or must not do to reach a wider audience?
Okay. I mean, okay, that's a tough one. Probably I can take some tips from you. I am still newcomer in publishing. But yeah, one thing absolutely is that you have to be active on social media.
Hmm.
That's a given. And that was the really a learning curve for me because see, 6 months back, I was not even on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. All
Hmm.
I had was a LinkedIn account. And that's where I still have my maximum followers because I come from the corporate
Hmm.
world, right?
Okay.
It is
Hmm.
only when I decided, okay, I want to go into writing full-fledged that I open these accounts. So you have to really be on social media and you have to be visible. By visible, I don't mean to write, something about your writing or this thing every time. But yeah, people have to know you as a person, right? I mean, the days were long gone when writers had some aura and people were like, okay, he or she is a writer. That means,
Hmm.
he's somebody from another planet. People like someone who they can relate to.
Hmm.
And, it's very important that you put your persona out there for
Hmm.
people to know. So I think that's the biggest marketing thing. And it does not have to be, when your book is about to release or when it has released. It
Yes.
has to be throughout because then
Yes.
people will see through it.
Hmm.
So that is the most important fact. The other part is, as writers, we have to stand for each other. So
Hmm.
I do think, especially in India, I think, abroad, the writing communities are much, much stronger.
Yes.
Here, we are still, I say in India, we are still, making a beginning. Like this collaboration session we are having, okay, it's also a step for this writing community to, become closer knit and, help each other out. So I think as writers, we do need to give each other a shout.
Hmm.
And something what is in your hand basically, okay, if a fellow writer is coming out with a book, do give a shout out, okay,
Yes.
do review that, or or help, be a beta reader for that, help in whatever way you could,
Yeah.
encourage other writers. And because the community, it's basically, when you have the larger the community you have, the larger the loyalty you're creating for your book. Like, today I don't know how many people have joined us for this session, but there would be some fans who of your work, there would be some fans of my work.
Yes.
And because of you, some people are getting to know me. Because of me, some people are getting
Yes.
to know you. So both of us are benefiting, right?
Yes.
So that's how it needs to be. That is another part I would say, okay, you have to basically give the shout out to your fellow writers, which will ultimately have a positive rub on your marketing as well. Third, of course, you, especially when the book is around the corner, the actual marketing starts a month to two before the book is
Yes.
about to be out.
Hmm.
So when the book is actually out, basically that, I mean, people.
You have built up a momentum for the book. Hello. Hello. Yeah, I lost you in between a little. We have lost Smita. Do stay with us. I have just invited her back. Yes, I
Okay.
am again.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. So you were saying about community building.
Okay. I'm here. Yeah. Oh, I don't know what happened. Suddenly, the
Yeah,
electricity in
suddenly
my
I don't
home
know.
went
You
off.
went off.
No,
Yeah.
I, yeah, no, so electricity went off, and I think the Wi-Fi got disrupted.
Oh,
Normally, it
okay.
does not
Okay.
because it has a backup, but somehow the backup didn't work, it seems. So I'm
Okay.
sorry for that. Technology
No problem.
does really
Yeah.
spring some surprises. Yeah. So what I was saying is that you need to reach out to bloggers. You need
Hmm.
to reach out, to your followers and inform them that your book is out in the corner so that
Hmm.
along with you they can give those shout outs. So at
Yeah.
least I mean, the audience should know about the book on the day of its launch. And that's
Yeah.
the philosophy I adopted for A Slice of Life. Like on the day of the
Uh,
launch, many people knew that there's such a
yeah.
book that was coming. So I
Okay.
think, yeah, that is one of the things as a marketer that you
Hmm.
need to do. Yeah,
Okay.
so I don't know if though that answers your question. I'm still learning, as I said.
Yeah, it does. It does actually. And what you said about community building, that's something I learned with my previously published books. That it's very important to connect with fellow authors and writers, and it's also important to connect with bloggers. Those who can help you market the book once you are about to publish it, or before you are about to release it. So that's great. Thank you for helping us with that. Now it's time for your
Hmm.
question.
Yes, yes. No, I was about to ask that. So, one thing that you mentioned, Manali, is that all the characters in your book Love Triangle are very, very relatable. Now, for main characters, definitely, but one thing that I love are your side characters, right? So, be it Gayatri, be it Sharath, everyone had some of those traits that you couldn't help but
Yeah, they are very endearing. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So tell me again, as a reader, which are your two favorite side characters from your novel?
Okay, so my top favorite is Viren's mother because she's just so cool. I mean, we all want a mom like that who can pull your leg and push you to go out with a girl you already like. So
Hmm.
that's my top favorite side character. And besides that, Gayatri, I mean, she's a bombshell. Who wouldn't want a best friend like that by your side? I mean, who
Hmm.
stands by you and teases you and then also makes you your maid of honor. So yeah, that's like the BFF you always want.
Hmm. Do you have some BFF like that,
Yes,
similar to
I do.
Gayatri?
Yes, I do. I do.
Hmm.
I I do have such BFFs, and I am such a BFF to a few people. So Gayatri again is the fun elements of her character are uh, a combination of me and my BFFs.
Great. Good to know that. I mean, yeah, I do wish that I don't know whether you have plans or not, but I do wish you explore some of the side characters more in some of
I
the
do. I
future
do
works that
actually
you
have plans for a spin-off with Gayatri and Varun's story, hopefully very soon. So yeah, we are going to know Gayatri a lot better than we. I mean, she is already so loved by the readers as a side character. I am sure she's going to break the internet when she becomes a central character.
That's great news. I can't wait for it to come out. So, all the
Yeah.
best to you for that.
So my last question to you is, what do you think matters more, the content or the promotion, and why?
Content, no doubt about it. Because, I mean, promotion is important, but the thing is, if you have bad content, all that promotion will boomerang also. Because what
Yes,
you're doing, more people are knowing about the book, right? And what happens at the end of the day, if there are bad reviews, then that will stand with you for your next work
I
and the
mean,
next
you can
and the
only go
next.
for as many paid or unbiased reviews as possible. I mean, somewhere somebody is going to call it out for not being good enough.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, the content has to be there. It has to be good. I mean, obviously, everybody's definition of good will change, right? But you, as a writer, have to be satisfied that you have put it out the best that you can, at least. And then,
Yeah,
of course, spend some time on the promotion. But yeah,
yes,
without a good content, no matter how much you promote it, it will boomerang ultimately.
it's going to fall flat. Sooner or later, it's going to fall back on you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what.
Okay. My next round of questions is going to be something very, you have to be quick with your answers because it's a rapid fire round. Are you ready?
I don't know. Okay, I'm as ready as I can
So
be.
you have
So
to
please,
answer whatever comes to your mind at the first go. Okay?
turn. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So my first question is, what advice would you give to your younger self?
Hmm. That in the end, it all turns out to be the best. So be patient.
That's really
Okay.
cool
Do
advice.
I also get a
Yes,
chance to
yes,
ask
yes.
you? Okay. Okay. So here I go. So one word that best describes you as a writer.
As a writer, uh, uh, consistent.
Okay. That's great. Hmm. Okay. Your turn now.
Okay, one difference you see in yourself as a reader before and after becoming an author. As a
Oh,
reader.
I spend a lot more time in reading because I'm looking at where are the punctuation marks, what is the literary device the writer has used, how has he made an opening, how has he closed a chapter. So,
Okay.
what is the plot like? I mean, I'm analyzing now as a reader. Earlier, I used to simply enjoy the story. So, yeah, that's how I'm
Okay.
taking a lot more time in reading than I used to before.
That's great. I
Okay.
mean, yeah. Okay.
Hmm.
Your turn.
Okay. Hmm. So, what is the first word or person who comes to your mind when I say the word author?
Author. Ruskin Bond, J.K. Rowling, all the authors that I admire. Those are the names that come off the top of my head.
Okay.
The authors that I have grown up reading.
Hmm. So, yeah, okay. Apart from Ruskin Bond, I think I heard more for all the other
J.K.
names
Rowling.
were foreign authors, right?
Yes.
Huh. No, so that's what all
Uh,
are foreign
yes.
authors.
If we are talking about Indian, Ruskin Bond, Arundhati Roy, Salman Rushdie, uh, Amitav Ghosh. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. So you do read Indian authors
Yes,
also.
I do. I do. No, no, not only foreign readers, foreign authors. I do read Indian.
Okay. Great. Okay. So your turn now.
Yes. Tell me something that you do not like doing. It has to be related or not related to writing. You can say anything.
Oh, I don't like sitting idle and doing nothing. I always have to either I have to sleep or I have to do something. Like I just can't sit idle and relax without yeah, I have to do something or the other. You can say I don't like relaxing. I mean, yeah, funny, but that's
I
how I
totally
am.
understand because I am also like that. I have to constantly keep doing something and keep myself engaged, or I'll go crazy.
Okay. Okay,
Yes.
so my turn. A book which you have read more than twice.
Okay, so since I've already mentioned J.K. Rowling, so it goes without saying that Harry Potter. But it's not because, also, of course, it's because I love the series so much, but it's also from the learning point of view, because those that series teaches you so much about what you can do as an author, how much detailing goes into a particular character and its backstory, and it's just amazing that every time you pick up the book, any book from the series, there's something you can learn about how great the writing is. So yes, Harry Potter.
Okay. So you have read all the 6 Harry Potter's book more than twice, you mean?
Yes. So
You must
whenever
be a big
I
fan.
am stuck somewhere in a scene, I ask myself, how did she go about it in Harry Potter? And I probably find an answer.
Oh, okay. So it had basically Harry Potter has inspired you in your writing works as well.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
okay. Great. Your turn now.
Yes. So tell me, what's the best and the worst feedback that you have got on your writing?
Oh, best feedback was when, initially when I had started writing. It was from my husband actually. So he read my story, and of course, he is my biggest critic in anything I do, anything and everything I do. And he takes a reading and he says, "Oh, you write like a professional." So that to me remains like
Okay, wow.
feedback. Okay. The worst feedback, I mean, I fortunately so far I've not received really bad feedback. But the worst feedback I got, one of my close friends actually told me, I liked your story, but I couldn't relate to it because you based it on foreign characters in a foreign country. I couldn't relate to it. And that was the point. I told you I mostly write thrillers and everything. So
Yes.
my short fiction Lost Identity, I released it in KDP as ebook only back in February 2021. That was totally set in a foreign terrain and everything. And that's
Okay.
when I realized I'm an Indian, and if I'm willing to find want to find an audience in India, I have to set my
The
stories in
characters
India.
have to be set in India. Yes.
Yeah, so that was the turning point basically. And
Yeah.
I actually, thanks to her for giving this feedback. That's the why I am
Yeah.
here. Okay,
Oh,
so my turn. Writing prize that you aspire for the most right now.
I mean, a Booker Prize wouldn't hurt, but that's like aiming for the stars.
No, you can aim for the stars. Nothing stops you.
It's just, I'm being honest here. It's just the beginning of my journey as an author, and I want to reach that. Probably I will, but it's too early to aim for that. I have to be honest with
Hmm.
myself also. Uh, a more realistic would be a filmfare for a book, movie adaptation of my book, probably.
Okay, so that's something you're aspiring for. Okay,
Yes.
so you've said the word. The universe has started to
Yes.
conspire to get you there.
I am already, sending out to everyone around me that, I want Love Triangle to be adapted into a film or a series. So let's spread the word. Let's send it out to the universe.
Yes. Okay,
Okay.
so
My
your turn.
last question in this round is a word in your mother tongue which you feel does not have, a good enough equivalent in English.
Okay, now that's a difficult one. I am from Odisha basically, so I'm an Odia. Okay, and I would say the word that comes to mind is dhana. Okay, that's an Oriya word.
Hmm.
Dhana, it does not mean dhan, like the Hindi word is dhan, but a dhana is, someone dear. So in Odia, what that
Okay.
means is that, okay, you call a dear one dhana because, it's he or she is valuable to you, more valuable than
Okay.
wealth.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I cannot see an equivalent, nomenclature to call one's dear one, make one feel so valuable in Hindi or
Uh,
English. So that would be my
okay.
word.
I
Okay.
learned a new word today. Dhanu.
So, okay, my last question. A writer who you admire who is also a friend of yours.
So I have been doing this author collaborative for over a year now, and I have spoken to over more than 35 authors, and all of them have been so helpful, not only in terms of talking to me and being gracious enough to become a guest on this session, but they have also been very helpful in terms of making me understand where I'm going wrong and making me understand how to go about self-publishing and how to go about traditional publishing. So it's a wonderful community. If you are open yourself, they will provide you the help you ask for, but you have to be willing to uh, reach out to them, talk to them, and just be open about everything, not just taking the help, but also about critical feedback that might be coming your way. So it's been a wonderful community, especially Indian authors that I have talked to over in the past 1.5 years. Like you, I have spoken to 35 others in this similar manner, and I have gone on to take their help with so many things that I can't even recall their names off the top of my head. So all 35 of the guests that I have been on this author collaborative, they are all really good friends now.
Okay, so that's great. Good. And obviously you'll keep on doing more collaborative, so you'll keep on increasing your friend list, author friend list, I would
Yes.
say.
So I'm hoping that I can also count you as a friend, and we can reach out to each other and help each other whenever we are writing something new, or whenever we are trying to promote each other's work. And we were already talking about building a community and how important it is to help each other when we belong to the same community. That's what author collaborative is all about.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you there. And you can reach out to me anytime. And
Same.
I'm telling you, I will reach out to you anytime. I'll not, I'll take that liberty. So,
Yes, please do, because I'll be happy to help you. And whoever is listening to us, this is how collaborations work, and this is how we are supposed to support each other and help grow the community. Yeah, so Smita, this has been wonderful. I really had a lot of fun listening to your answers, and they were so helpful. Some of the things I'm not following as a writer or a reader, so I'm sure if I put them into use, they'll help me become a better writer. So thank you very much.
my pleasure, Manali. I also learned a lot. And I mean, that is why, I was interested for this session because as fellow writers, we both can learn from each other and help each other grow and help the community grow. I am a firm believer of growing your community in whatever you do. So
Yeah.
yeah, thank you for having me here. It was a great,
My
great
pleasure.
session.
Yeah, same here. Thank you once again. And thank you to everyone who joined us. We had a lot of viewers today. So thank you everyone who joined us and who were with us from the beginning till now, despite a few glitches. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Uh,
and thank you, especially those who have joined from India. I mean, it's a winter and it's like not very late, but still late in the night. So thank you for being there and being with
for
us.
me here, it has gone from light to dark already, and I have to switch on the
I
light. I was afraid if I get up, the flow of the session will go. So yeah. Thank you,
mm,
everyone. And this video will be available on my IGTV, and I will also be uploading it on my YouTube channel. So you can go back and listen to it again if you would like to, hear to our conversation, learn from it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Smita. Good night.
good night. Bye.